Okay, I bring the chart back a couple of months here, December 2024, because the recent price action is not really good enough to do any replay mode on really for me. So I've got it back and we'll just kind of go through the session on this day and kind of see what happens. But so far on the weekly, it looks like we can push higher. We've closed here. Looks like we've tested into the order book here. Trying to go higher, gaining this order book here, which we can mark on the screen. The midpoint of that level. The daily though, daily looks like it's gonna flip down momentarily. I've closed the low, coming back up to this order book here. So maybe what happens in the next few days is we tap into this to come down before we go higher. If we don't hold off of this, and then we push back below here, get held down by this, and then I'd be anticipating running a bit lower, maybe into this range down here, because obviously that's the next range down. There's not really anything here. On the daily though, what we can see is the next range down would be here. It's the next range to hold after this one. So right now I think down. Weekly looks up. Right now it looks up. We'd obviously change what we think when this candle closes. So yeah, I think we'll just fast forward it until 1 p.m. and then we'll just go from there. Okay, 1:30. So if we do some charting real quick on the 15-minute, we've got the high of the range being here, high of the range, low of the range. What can we see has happened? So we moved up to that daily order block, close the lows here. We're holding off the midpoint of that weekly bearish order block. We came up to the 25% of it, we've come down to the 5. We might be coming back up to here before going lower. What aids in that bias is we've closed these lows, This was the low that brought price all the way down, so maybe you could assume that price is going to come up to here before going lower. Also, why do I think that as well? Because maybe if I think we're going down, well, this is the daily order block, this is the range that pushed us down, so I think if it's going to go anywhere in this range, it's most likely going to be here. So in this moment, so far I would be looking for longs. The first thing I would have tried would have been something in this range, considering we close this higher. If we just go back here, close this higher. So once price comes back down to this range, I would have been looking for a long to try and break the higher that brought us down. Apparently we can't run the 1 minute chart. Strike data is I forgot you can only go 6 weeks back. Okay, let's just do this one example real quick, and then I'll quickly change to a different date. So yeah, what I would have been looking for in this moment was a trade back down into this order block, something to hold off of it. Now this is a 5-minute candle, but just think it was a 1. Like, taking the midpoint of that. Didn't go too far here, but we would have been able to get something there. Yeah, let me just fast forward it to see if we do get up to idea, and then we can change. So the session comes around, we sweep everything here, close both sides, so right now there's not really a direction until now. Close this here, close this. Once we close this, we trade back down into this order block. Midpoint of it holds. We either go for the order block here, or we tried the midpoint this week, would have missed. Trying the midpoint in the order block wouldn't have. Just taking that up to the daily. So this is where I think it should hold. And now we're kind of looking at everything down as something that's only going to flip us back up to the order blocks. Which seems to be the case. So this held, and then let's create a sideways movement for a while. Yeah, I'd say that idea is correct. Okay, I'm gonna change the thing and I'll be back. Okay, we've cut it as far back as we can go. You can only go back like 6 weeks, from what I remember, so it's as far back as we could go. So we'll just go from Friday the 13th of June, just because it looks pretty good. Right. Did some charting already. So my whole idea right now is we've come down to this low. It's like the low on, if we go to the 4 hour. This range closed right. We're still holding inside of it. So down here is kind of the last line of defense really. So my whole thought process right now is we close these, we can come up to here before we make a decision if we're going to go lower or we're going to hold off for something and go higher. So even if we wasn't clear on direction, just seeing this and this, we can already tell it's going to go up to here before it does something else. So up until that moment you can have a clear idea on where direction is going, and in my opinion it is up there to this higher. That bearish order block, sorry. So what we can do is we can mark out the daily. The 4 hour one is here. In this instance I will use the 4 hour because there's actually a range compared to the daily. There's not really much to go off of. Pop down to 15, we do our levels. We got the higher. The low is down there. Well, here's the thing, right? This low created this higher, this low's been taken out. So we've already got our direction now. Our direction is up. Whichever one gets created first and that one gets taken out, you're looking for price go to the other one. So in this instance, price doesn't go down to here and this swoops here. Well, our idea from that moment forth is to break below here. So exterior to exterior down here. And then we're just looking for things to aid in that. So close this. Once we close this, we have the first move up here. So in my opinion, taking along here isn't a good idea because this is going to momentarily flip direction, which it does do here. So this low create that higher, this low gets taken out, so our direction is that high. In this moment here, this low creates that higher, that low gets taken out. It's the same thing as well, right? Look here. High gets taken first here. This high creates that low. Once high gets taken, the low gets taken next. And in the bigger picture, right, this low create this high. So even though this has already been taken as target, it's now going to flip us back up to here. It's just a very small interior range. It's a lot more easier to see on the 5 minute. So go forward. We're already anticipating this high going, so if that's the case, we can start looking at some stuff in here. We would jump down time frames as well. So if we go to the 1 minute time frame now. Kind of get an idea what's going on. So this highest fair value gap's already been tested into, our direction's up, so we're not really looking at this to do much other than flip us back down before going higher. Let's mark this on my screen. Okay. So we have tested into that. We've closed these highs. These highs have been closed. So if this high has been closed, the more exterior high, which is also here as well, these are equal highs. This high has been closed. The order book for that high is here, which isn't really the real order book. So we're anticipating price to flip back down to here before we go higher. Yeah. This is something I would have tried here, because that would have been my idea in that moment. I'm looking at this as not doing too much. Once we come back down, because I still think we'll go higher, and we have an 82. We didn't close any lows. The only low we closed was this more interior one, but even if we was going to go down from this point, we should still at the very least get to around here, unless we just hold off the low of the fair value gap, which I just don't really think would have been the case in this move. So my idea would be we'll take this as a swing, and at the very least it will come up to here, which even if we was to take profit there, that's 2.68. And because my idea anyway is to go higher, we could take profit here for 2.68, get a re-entry once we come back down. Or we can just stay in that one trade, which is obviously what I would do, but I think locking up profits at the start is the better idea. So I would be trapped here now, puts in a low, puts in a swing, and like I said, this has already been tested into. I already think we're going to go higher, so my target would be up here for a start. And the bigger picture, right, I think we're going to go all the way back up to this, so we've got a long way to go. Obviously that one trade isn't going to go all the way up to there, but first target would be here. You could say first target here, but I think I'd rather just go for the bigger target for 8.84. Any re-entries we could go for? Yeah, this trade, this candle here is the re-entry go for. We closed this high. We closed this high here. This high got closed. This order book got held. This is the next range here. We've got a high here. And this is a range where this low is the same for this high and this high, because there's no low until here. So this low brought this high up. This higher brought this low down, so it's the same low. The higher went, once you get the test into it here, I would have tried this, would have missed, fair enough. If you really thought it was going to go up, could have gone for something different, maybe the low of the bottom side of the bullish order block, or just the open. The low is not really a level. In this case it is, it's the high of the wick. And we get that movement up. Okay, so obviously I would be trailing here. Wouldn't have taken profit. I maybe trailed here or underneath this candle. Just kind of seeing where it goes, and would have been trailed up now. And I still think higher. And zooming out here, yeah, of course we're gonna go down from here. This is the next range to flip direction. So what we'd be anticipating is just holding and taking us back down to here. If we're going a higher time frame as well, without spoiling anything, we'll get a bigger picture on what's going on. Okay, so this never closed, so this is just flipping direction. The highs have been taken out here. Has been taken out. We have our order block here, we have our highest fair value up here. So we're looking for price to come back down to these. The actual order block of this whole entire range is here. But for the most recent order block that pushed price up on a lower time frame, it's going to be this range here. So high, low, just push price up. So I'll be looking for a short down to there, and I wouldn't get a short anywhere here unless I got the midpoint of here, which you actually could have. You had so many opportunities there to try and get that. You could have got that down to, if it's good enough, it is 3R, even if it's just to there. Bit lower if you wanted to, all the way down, whatever. But that's the next thing I would have been looking at, the momentary flip in direction. Like I said, we didn't take out the low of the 15, so this is just going to flip direction. We took it out in the 1, but the 15 is obviously a lot more important than the 1. Re-entry, if you didn't get one, would be here. Tapping into that weekly, close this low here, coming back into it. Wouldn't have got filled if you went for the midpoint, but still the idea would have been the same, and it would have been a better trade actually, 5R opposed to 1 up here. This one's more safe though, whereas this one isn't. Haven't tapped into that yet, we have now. Didn't take out the low. So until we close the direction, I wouldn't be trying anything. Direction's been closed. Sorry, high's been closed. Okay. So we can still use this order block to flip the direction with this weekly. Good target here might be to sweep or to hold the. We'll use the actual order block here, being this candle. So we'll wait until something happens there. And now we think long, right? We've got a direction. Still destined to come down, which we do. ATT in 1 minute. Okay, it could be either or, because our direction's up, we would go for this once we gain it. So once the candle gets gained, doesn't here, does now, and you can see it kind of comes here, holds, and then goes up. We could get a flip in direction before we go higher here. One of these. Should have just done the Fair Valley Gap now. One of these could go to before going deeper. Also as well, we've closed this high, so we can already anticipate a move back down to our entry. So if we wanted to try aggressively, would be fine, because we know this should flip if it does come up, and we should flip anyway now because we've closed up high. So we're destined to come back down, which we do. New 82 gets placed in, so if I did get break even or trailed there, I would just straight up went for this. Straight up gone for that. And my target now is up here. This didn't get gained, this already flipped direction. If anything, first target here, maybe we close this and come back down if we don't spoil anything again. A higher time frame, 5 minute. We've closed that. We've closed that higher. This is the order block for that. So if we was to come back down to here, or even higher, the order block will come somewhere before going higher. So this is the higher the order block. This is, in my opinion, the better spot because the weekly's there as well. So what we could do is long up to here, take profit. I wouldn't short, obviously, because I think it might only just go to here or a bit lower, but we can take a re-entry long. So there'd be nothing wrong with taking profit for 2.78. Getting stopped out, getting filled for a new trade again after that. Okay, so the first thing I would have tried here is this. Would have filled us, because it filled us perfectly here now and moved back up. This order block is now in play. What I would do here is break even because of my entry. Would have stopped us out, that's fine. Any reason to go down yet? Not really yet. We've not closed either or direction. So right now it's not really telling if we're going to go higher or lower. Obviously I know we're going to go higher, well that's my idea, but in this higher range we've not done anything yet. So we're either trying to hold this higher to go higher, or we're going to go lower. Is this oh, it's the order block. Okay, I have a direction now. Taking this out here, this, create this, so our target's up here. So what we can do is this we could have gone for. Next thing I would have tried, just up to here, is already is 3.67, and if we're sweeping exterior, break exterior, our target can always be higher. So in this instance, exterior could be all the way up to here. Plays out nicely. I would anticipate a flip in direction. We had an ATZ here that did actually play. ATT played here. ATT played here. Okay, so the likelihood of this one working out as well is quite high. Still might not work out. I would leave room for this gap, or I would have taken profits, knowing that it's an ATT, and try to get a re-entry. But for this instance, we'll just wait now. Okay, so there's not really an ATT, so we can just say this one didn't work out as an ATT. I wouldn't really want to take anything less than this now, 7.0, or you can just leave it at 5.47. Whatever one you went for, it's a good trade. And this is to be expected to come down. I took out this high. If we go into the 15-minute real quick, kind of see what's going on. So we're looking to take this out on the 15. This is our next target. If we close this, we should come back down before going higher. So in this next candle, which we do, close above it. We don't close above it actually. Don't close above it there. Do we do anything with 5? Okay, so the 5 closed. So if the 5's closed, we can already anticipate the 15 is going to close. So this moving back down, and then we're getting a sweep here. So closed. We're anticipating that moving back down. We get the sweep of the lows. The sweep in the lows. This low create this high. So once we sweep here, we should break higher than this. And that would be my idea. And then after that, we don't really have any other ranges until higher up. We'll just wait till the 15-minute closes. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we don't really have any targets until higher now. What we can use is the PDR of this weekly. I'll put that on the screen. So that's our PDR. And then we will just grab a new one and put it here as well. Got 2 PDRs. That's really the only level you can go off of right now. So if we're holding this, we should come up to here. So if anything, we are still going higher. Close this high here. This high got closed. Haven't tested back down into it. We have an interior range we're trying to hold. Unless we go up aggressively, we'll most likely come back down to here. So full well knowing that, you could have definitely taken the midpoint of this order block for this range, trying to take an aggressive trade up. We already want to be break even now, that's why we prefer aggressive move. Because we still think we can come down, right? We closed the actual higher, and on the 15-minute time frame, we closed that high, closed this high. This brought price up, so I'd be looking for here, these levels, before we go higher. So we're already anticipating that movement back down. Anything here yet? Would have tried that. nice entry, so it's nice to see that you could have got break even with the look of that candle. Small wick, small body, sorry, big wick, moves all the way up to here. If you're not break even, it's moved up 2.62 on, and you're asking to lose anyway. And then what we can do, because we still think it's potentially going to go higher. Like we said, this is the range we're looking to hold. We're not really looking for it to go any lower than the midpoint of this. So what I would have tried, first of all, would be this. Didn't feel you, that's fine. This should flip direction. Haven't closed here, but my direction's up. There's no reason why we should go down yet. We've not back tested anything. Nothing's been back tested. There's not really a range to go back down to until this Fair Value Gap is the only thing in this range of importance, and obviously the order block. Already now on the 15-second time frame, we're closing highs. So this looks like we probably closed the internal high on the 15, so we can already anticipate price moving back down. In my case, this is good enough. This is price action down. Bad candles though, I don't know if I would have gone for this. If so, I would have gone for midpoint of this. That moved up so much. Looks like I would have got break even if this comes down a few more ticks. But we still haven't traded into this route, so we can still go down to there, and that's likely. Which we've done. Now, this looks a bit better. Take the midpoint of this, once it gains, looks like it gained there. Tested into the Fair Value Gap where we thought it would. Closed at the higher here, and then tested down into the Fair Value Gap, so that's actually really nice. Shouldn't flip direction to at least this order block, be it the low, the body, or the midpoint. Still 3R. We didn't really close the overarching low for this move, so the likelihood of this holding at all is not really high. So we can look at the high of the range as target. We either took profit there or we trailed, looking for that bigger move up. Now we can trail here, so we basically get what we got in the trade for, or we get more. Not really anywhere to trail. Maybe I'll trail exactly to that now, so we do get the full 4.42. We can already anticipate a move back down to this range now before going higher. If we head over to the 15-minute as well, we could then have a look at what's happening. Okay, so we shouldn't really go any lower than here. There's not really a low, there's a high. But on the 5-minute, you got a better picture. So this closed, we tested back down into the range, we held it. This closed. So what do we think now? Well, just the same thing. Why wouldn't we think we'd come down to here before going higher? This is exactly where we should go. We have equal lows as well. So what we could do is we could slip this. Looks like we're going down, but we sweep and go higher. That's the two ideas I have. Whatever happens is what you react off of. So we would have been stopped out there anyway off that trade. So I already think we're going to go a bit lower here. So nothing here for me is looking good enough. And now we hit the PDR. We could definitely go back down to here. So yeah, so direction for me is more set in stone now. If that was my idea and I saw this as a swing at 02, this is something I would already be in. I'd be break even now though, just because of the look at this candle, because in theory, right, we close these, there's nothing saying we can't hold this to go higher. But that being said, I still think we can go down to the more exterior part of the range. So just would have been trailed here for half an hour, anticipating that flip up. So you could have, if you're anticipating flips up, you can always just take profit at the opposing order blocks. But what we can do here is, if that's what we was thinking, because our direction, we think our direction's down. Yeah, we've closed this. This should hold us up here, right? So we could always go for a re-entry, but I think what I'd rather do is just miss out on the move, really. You can always miss out on the move. There's always going to be another trade. I would have much preferred if we never closed anything up here. We just spiked out, and then used this to flip to then go lower. I would have taken that re-entry. Because of the look of this, I'm not willing to take a trade on something that could lose. So if you did go for this, because this did gain, you would have taken a loss. That just proves my point. It does end up going down though. So if it comes back up to here before it goes lower, and then yeah, we could get something. But if we get down to here before that, I'm not interested. So I'm no longer interested now. I would have actually just tried this long here. Already would have been break even. I would have mine here, but you'd have to have it here, or if you had it here you wouldn't be able to get in. The stop loss is too big. That's 28, 29 with fees. So have it there. I think even if you had it here or here, you're going to get stopped at either or. Nice to see break even anyway. We still have a thing in the back of our mind that we can get down to here. What could be aiding in that? Well, we close this low for this order block, so our trade's gonna get near enough 100% likely gonna get stopped out unless it holds here. Which I tried, and then it did go down, so we would have trailed to here anyway, so we would have locked up at least something. We still think we can go a bit lower. Anything saying we're holding yet? Not really. Failed the low, failed the high, failed the next high, closed this. So our next opportunity would have been here. The only fair value gap in the range is here. So just reactive of what happens. So maybe you got a trade here, maybe you didn't, but that's something. This range here is something I would have tried to go for. Still thinking I can go lower, which it does. So now we're at the point where I think it will flip. So if that's exactly what I think, then the midpoint of here is exactly what I would go for. The midpoint of that candle, to try and take that all the way up to here, because that's exactly where it should go. at some point. But if you want to just, you know, take the easiest target, well, realistically, it's going to do some sort of flipping here. Actually, look here. This is the next little block in the range. Sorry, actually, it's here. It's going to hold around here. So, no reason to break even at all here. We didn't even gain the order block. So, once it moves up, break even. You're either around here and got trailed out because we thought it was going to flip anyway, or we just took 1.8, or we just wait for the swing, which would be there. Regardless what you would have done, you would have got at least something out of that. And I would have gone for this as well. Closed, already anticipating the move back down. A swing gets put in. Would have tried this, break even here on this trade. I've been able to trail to here now for half an hour. Whenever you can trail. You need to look up something every trade at least, if you can. Just don't be too aggressive with it, or you will miss out on near enough to point time move. So we would have been stopped up there. It looks a bit choppy now anyway. Still think we can go all the way up to here. Just skip a couple of candles and then goes to 15 minute. Well, this is still trying to hold to go higher. On the 5 minute, there was a low here, so this could be the first sign of price moving down. This low got taken out, this is holding, so in theory then there's nothing saying we can't come back down to here, which we did do in that last candle we skipped. So I wouldn't actually take any trades until either we come higher here or come lower here. My idea is up though, so I'd prefer if we broke back above here, which we do. There's clearly something happened in these couple of candles, maybe some news. So right now, our direction can definitely still be up here. Didn't even close the lows, closed the highs. Coming back down to here. The only thing you can really take here is this. I think this is actually okay as a trade to take. I'll try and take that up to there. That's 3.86. Nice. So you could break even here. I'd break even. Trial for something now, 0.17. Trying to get that a bit higher. Okay, I would have just got stopped out here for 1 hour, which is fine, because if you wanted to go for a re-entry, you'd be broke even. If that was your first trade on the day. And now it's looking choppy, really choppy. There's not really anything that you could go for at all. Even when you break this, you've not actually broken anything. You've broken an interior high, well, we've not broken the exterior low or the exterior high, so nothing to go off of until here in this candle. We've broken exterior. Broken exterior here. We've got a higher time frame. Just back to the 15 minute. Don't want to spoil that. So you have to go back one more candle. It still looks like it's just developing to go higher, right? There's not really a reason why we should go lower, even though the 1 minute and the 5 minute looks like we can go lower. Actually, the 5 minute doesn't even look like that. It looks like it's just developing to go higher. It's just the 1 minute looks really choppy. The 5 minute doesn't look too bad, but you can still see the chop in between. This already flipped direction. We failed to successfully close the low. So we just wait. Still haven't closed the low. Pushes up. So if we're thinking long, you'd let this flip direction before you go higher. Flip direction. Could have tried something now. You can already evidently see that would have been a break-even trade anyway. Moved all the way up to here. You would have been break-even once it moved up. If you're not, then you're asking to lose, like I said earlier. If you get a move up, a evident move up that shouldn't come back lower, and you're still in it, then yeah, you might as well just throw your money away. Okay, so we've got lows here that can swept. 5 minute time frame. Still looking choppy. Cool. Failed the low, closed the high, didn't close that high, closed this high. If this high got closed, where should we go? Well, here. With a block. And let's do fair value up. Okay, so either went for this, took a loss, or break even, whatever. If you did, I would have just taken a re-entry trade when you can take a re-entry trade. So here, re-entry trade. Went all the way up to here, so break even, especially after taking a loss. If you took down, you want to be a bit more aggressive with break evens. Wouldn't even say this is being aggressive. It moved up all the way up to here. My stop loss is normally a bit higher if I can. Moved all the way up 1.29, need to be break even. This looks 10 times better now, and I would have taken this again. We swept, we went into exactly where we should have. This is the difference of waiting for what it should come into and not waiting. It goes choppy, and you take a loss, you take a break even. Once it goes exactly where you want it to go, the likelihood of that trade working out is a lot higher. You should be here, I'm normally around there, you should be here. Went all the way up to there. If you got this, well, you're so far down, and if you're not break even, well, that's your own fault. Went up almost 3R. For me, it would have went up at 6.67. Cool, and that's what I mean. You wait for exactly where it should come to, which is always the lowest point, and the trade has a lot more likelihood of working out. When you start entering these higher ranges before you get down, in this case this is still a higher range because we've not came down to anything. We've not came down to anything. The only thing we've come to would have been the high of the order block. And we have all these levels down here. This is still, because it's such a big candle as well, it's still so high up. And once it comes down, that's when it's better. It's like, that's why I'm trying to enter so high up never really works out. Same thing again. It comes down to the range before it goes higher. Closed here. I would have been waiting for something to come down to here, right? But there's no fair value gap. There's no fair value gap, so you got to use your head and see, okay, what's the lowest thing here? Well, there's no fair value gap. The wick's here, so yeah, this is justifiable. The wick is the only fair value gap in the range, and if you want to take it one step further, inversion fair value gap here. There's no inversion fair value gap here. This got closed over and then closed back under. This one's still in play. This is exactly where it goes. It's a swing. Oh, it's not a swing, sorry. Unless it's 2 minutes early. But this is what I would have went for, because it came to exactly where it should do. You got two things here. Inversion fair value gap and fair value gap. Just up to there is 3R. And then expect the same thing again. Close, come back down, which it does do. So if you're trading aggressively, just expect that you're going to get stopped out if you close a high, because it's going to come back down before it goes higher. And all the way up now. So if you're trading really aggressively, you miss out on this. If you're not trading aggressively, you're trading nicely here, like so. You'd be up to, well yeah, you'd be up 24R, because the stop loss can't really be any lower than that. Maybe 17 if you went for the body, but still. Such a good trade by just understanding the move. There's no reason to go lower, right? We've closed, we've tested, we've closed. This is what needs to be tested, this range. We've already done everything down here. There's no reason to go lower. We've not hit anything up top either. The next thing to get hit up top is this, or this, the actual order block, because once we closed these, we never returned. We turned to here, okay, so our target would have been here, which if you can see, it did try and hold in this candle, and then it failed to. Trial, 36R, just by understanding the move. Maybe you tried here because it's immediate rebalance. Whatever, we've got 38R. And what can we anticipate? No, we don't want that text. What can we anticipate then? For 5 minutes, we're closed here. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get moved down. We'll get moved down, back down to the bottom of the range, and then I'm sure we'll move back higher. 15 minute order block is where here. The only fair value gap is here. So cool. If we hold here and go higher, or come down to here and go higher, it doesn't matter. That's the highest fair value gap. We got here, didn't close this low got closed, tested into the only fair value gap being here, failed the low, closed the high here. So once this high gets closed, we can start looking for stuff. This could flip direction momentarily. that's a 1 candle. I would have said I would have missed this. I would have been waiting for a bit lower because you don't want to make the mistake I was talking about. I would have missed this. Still though, come back down to here. If you go into the 5-minute time frame, okay, so you closed the high. High got closed. Here, you can see it got closed. So this is how you find if it's justifiable to take the high of the range versus the low. Is there anything that it can trade to in the 5? What's there? So if we hold this, which we have, I already tried this. Okay, maybe you missed it. If you did, unlucky. If not, and you're still trying to get this, well, the only thing you can go for now is the open. And I think if you actually took a trade like this and you're up 38R, well, why do you even care where you enter on your next trade? You can enter all the way up here and have a stop loss that big. I couldn't care. Cool. And now what should happen now then? The same thing. We close this, come down to something. Where's the lowest fair value gap? Here. That's not what I wanted. Lowest fair value gap. We'll go on the 5-minute real quick. You can see if there's a reason to even come this way. Okay. It can definitely come that low if it wants to. Regardless, I think we would have been stopped out of this trade. Just holds off of the wick here. Fails the highs. Okay, so now we've actually come down. Bigger picture, right? We came up to the block, flipping direction. Now we flip that direction, we can definitely come back down to here. If we still think we're going to go higher, we got to the highest point of the range. Nothing even held here, so there's no reason for you to get in anything. Go to the 5-minute. Still just holding that same range, which is actually fair enough. Guess we'll put that fair value gap back. We're in that same range. So, okay, we closed those. So even if we're going higher, this should flip direction. If that's the case, then and that does flip direction, then that means we could actually get into a trade to go higher. Direction, but do we take these out or do we sweep them? Because if we sweep them, we fail this high as well. Well, if we sweep those, essentially we'll come all the way back down to here. Because this low is created from this move falling all the way down. So if we fail that, this is our target, meaning we actually might come all the way back down to here still. Fail it again. Sweep again, foul. Move down to there. There was a long opportunity if we wanted to go for it. I wouldn't have gone for it personally because we never broke here. But at the same time, right, we broke the interior range. So the interior range will try and hold, meaning this was actually a valid trade. But the overarching thing here is we failed this high, we've actually closed that high now, but at this point it looks like it might be a bit too late. Coming back down to here. If this fails, well, look at it this way, right? We never came all the way down after closing, so if this fails, we already know it's going to come all the way back down to here before it goes higher again. Which it does. And that lowest fair value gap. There's not a fair value gap there, so the wick is the lowest thing. So yeah, it did. Exactly to where you thought it would. No fair value gap until that wick. Still never closed the inversion fair value gap either. Cool. To exactly where we would have thought it would have went to if we closed here. Because we never came lower after closing. So it still has a likelihood of coming lower. Even if we close these, if it was going to do anything, it would just flip here, back down before going higher. Because we're closing interior lows. In the bigger picture, we close interior highs. So these are just going to be used, even though it looks like we're not breaking anything up. These are just closing to get us lower before going higher. So just do, and then we get all the way up to our target. Comes down, sweeps, closing higher. So we're already anticipating if we've closed these, we can still come down to here. Regardless of what happens, we hold the fair value gap, the order block, sweep, whatever. One thing's going to happen to get us up. So yeah, I think that was a pretty okay video. Quite easy to follow. Yeah, I'll probably make another one tomorrow or later.